pod has spoken. I'm here. One of the co-hosts, Tyson Apostol, was on Marriage Boot Camp Season 2 Reality Stars. And I'm here with...
That's where most of our listeners know you from, I'm sure.
I got recognized as that guy from Marriage Boot Camp Reality Stars, and I had no...
Like on the street or something?
On
like
the street, and I had no idea. The dude just came up. He's like, bro, it's so brave what you did out there. I was like, yeah, dude, I know. I starved and had to manipulate and bullshit with people. He's like, yeah. And like, just to put yourself out there like that. And I was like, yeah, I did cry once or twice. And he's like, yeah. And then just like, it was just like so inspirational to me and my wife to watch that for a relationship. And I was like, I have no fucking clue what you're talking about now, bro. And then he was like, me and my wife watch Marriage Boot Camp every season. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed that somebody recognized me from there. But also hilarious that we had a full conversation, me believing it was about Survivor and him knowing full well it was about Marriage Boot Camp. So there are people out there that exist that know me from Marriage Boot Camp and not Survivor at all. Don't even probably know I was on the show. But I'm here with my co-host, Riley.
Hey.
Always here, never left.
Always here.
Always here. And we're here as well with Ashleigh, who's also always been here.
Always.
Thank you, producer Ashleigh. And we have a very special guest, a friend of mine. Defeated him in pickleball, but that didn't...
Oh.
I think that made our relationship stronger.
Yeah.
I'm here with Hunter from season 46.
It did.
Did
I
it?
will say any chance to make Tyson feel like the man is going to improve the relationship exponentially. any opportunity. And I was listening to that intro. I had no idea where it was going. So I can imagine Riley sitting across from you every single week. I mean, like, I have no idea where this journey is going,
Yep.
this conversation. Marriage, I didn't know you were on Marriage Boot Camp. I didn't realize that was your claim to fame.
Yeah, so if you were standing there with me and that guy was coming up to me, you would also be like, oh, Survivor. Oh, now he's a little too emotional for Survivor and relationship talk and go and yeah. But we made the connection eventually. So, and to give you something to watch, you can go back and watch Marriage Boot Camp Reality Stars Season 2.
I'll have to check it out. Maybe. I don't know if it's really my cup of tea, but maybe I'll find
Are you saying I'm not your cup of tea?
No, well, no, I'm not saying that, but you in that setting doesn't quite seem like it resonates the same. Doesn't seem like it has the same level of Tyson that I'm looking for. Although I will say,
I made the soup on that show. They did show clips of me on the soup from Marriage Boot Camp Reality Stars.
Wait, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Soup? You don't know what the soup is on E? Where Joel McHale used to host and just talk shit on all reality TV. He'd just show the craziest clips from the week from all reality TV across the board and then comment on it.
Wait, so you were stirring up chaos at Marriage Boot Camp?
No, I just said something about paying for a wedding or buying 30 pairs of designer jeans.
Okay, that fits. That fits and that checks out. Oh my goodness. It reminds me of you talking about how you would, if you won Survivor your first season, you were going to buy a tiara, which I think, or a man tiara. But that checks out.
Yeah.
Because y'all didn't have a fancy wedding.
I mean,
Did
it was
you,
fancy
or no?
enough. We rented out a hotel in Park City.
Yeah.
So it was featured on, Martha Stewart. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. So have people recognized you from that? They go like, you were the guy.
I don't think so. I mean, in the moment, probably, I think, but people already had connected me with Survivor. So I was getting tweets like, oh my gosh, you're on Martha Stewart. And it was because our photographer did a lot of work for the Martha Stewart publications. So anything she did, she submitted it to Martha Stewart, and then they picked and choose what they. So she asked she could submit our wedding stuff, and they said yes.
Yeah.
So, so that's it. That's everything about me. And now the audience knows every
last little bit.
Yeah. That was the only thing I was withholding to remain a mystery to our audience. And now they know everything. Let's get into it. There's lots of mistrust with this strong six. We're on episode 9. Welcome to the party.
Yeah.
Lots of mistrust. If I'm part of this 6 and I'm not David, and David comes to me and says, yeah, we're the strong five, but now we're strong six with Mary, the girl I pulled in and didn't get nobody else had any input.
Uh-huh.
How you feeling about that?
Well, it's weird because his whole thing of wanting to get rid of Camilla is because she is somehow tied to someone who's in the six. Like everyone in the six cannot have a pair except for me. Like I can have a pair, y'all can't have a pair. Or maybe if you're open about the pair. And so it is weird. And what I loved in that beginning, that sitting around watching the sunrise, talking about what we're going to do for the rest of the day, setting it in stone was really interesting because watching Kyle's face in that whole interaction where he's just like, what are we talking about here, was hilarious. But my favorite line from that was when David says, I'm going to take the back seat. I'm going to take the back seat. But Mary
wants Camilla.
Yeah.
Mary wants Camilla. She really wants Camilla.
But it keeps going like that. And then Kyle goes, I'll do whatever. And David says, okay, it's Camilla. I'm going to take the back seat on this one. I don't want any heat like I got last night. But Mary wants Camilla. And Mary's like, yeah, I kind of do. And Kyle's like, I'll do whatever. And David's like, okay, then it is Camilla. I love that too. I love that moment. It was just like David trying to not be in charge.
I had to actually rewind it because his face isn't on screen when the line says, but Mary wants Camilla. I was like, is that David actually saying that? So I checked it a couple of times. Like, yeah, that's definitely David still trying to steer, but saying like, hey, like my friend wants to know if we could do this. It's like very much trying to work around it. And I was like, oh boy, this is not great.
Yeah. And I think this is like also like, this is building from last week's episode. We get this fractured integrity six, and Kyle, it's like it's weird to like some of the approaches throughout this episode are so wrong. Like the reads are so wrong. Like most, like Shaheen going to Joe and being like, watch Eva, I think she's getting an advantage. Like that was that's the wrong person to choose out of everybody. Out of everybody you choose, why not go to Mitch and to Star and be like, hey, watch this, Eva's bringing it. Like to go to Joe and Joe be like, come on, man. So that was a total misfire. It could have been so beautiful. Shaheen following her would have been amazing.
Oh my goodness.
Why
did he not follow her?
I guess he didn't want to make good TV.
I mean, of all, like, you're not sleeping that great. There's nothing else to do. You just had a down day, so you're not exhausted.
The funnest thing you can do, just for entertainment value alone, the funnest thing you can do is go see what's up.
Say would have done it. Say would have done it.
Say would have held her hand and helped her decide. Would have helped her pick out which scroll to use.
Say would have beat her to there and gotten it for herself and be like, I'm here first. What would they do in that situation if you sprinted down, popped in there first?
Advantage. It's Eva's advantage.
So let's talk about Eva's advantage, because last week we covered it, but then on Twitter it went berserko with Eva's place card where she had to sit during the filming of the reward right in the bowl of chips. And the argument was that the winner was placed there. I don't know if the winner was placed there or if they would have sat in the same arrangement, whether or not, depending on who had won.
It was for the winner. Because they need that person to survive that night's tribal council for this advantage to even work. So I don't think they planned it for you.
Oh, that is true, I guess. That's true. I mean, I guess you could also, because it did say like you won.
It was like your hard work in the challenge is being rewarded. It was worded in a way, like, because I clocked that too. It was like, oh wow, they don't always have, here's where you have to sit, but they.
So what if somebody else had found it?
Yeah. The chances, it's weird because the chances aren't equal. So it's not random. It's like it's random to a certain extent, but the odds are not equal. So someone else could have found it. And even the phrasing, if it was any other challenge,
if they looked like in her chip bowl, like, but did they
each have a chip bowl?
Right. Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
I think, I don't know. I have to go back and look.
But still, you could have seen it. Like,
yeah.
And the case could have been made, because each of them did have to pass phases to get to the point to earn the reward. And so it's not like the phrasing would be too crazy to earn a reward. Your hard work. We worked to get to the last stage. Has there been any time where someone has won immunity and then gotten a secret advantage with that? I thought it was always like Jeff would pull out some mysterious bottle and be like, you win immunity and this that will be revealed at tribal council. I didn't know if there was ever a time that it's been kept a secret before.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking to the wrong guy. I'm not the
I'm not 100% sure.
I'm not the biggest nerd here, but I mean, I might be the biggest nerd here, but I'm not the biggest nerd in the Survivor community. Is what I mean. So,
well, I have to
know.
Look into the Reddit posts and see if that's actually happened. See.
And then the other argument was she already got an advantage. She got the reward. She won the challenge. She's immune. Why are they just piling on, like the rich get richer type thing?
Yeah. Well, plus it was like the losers in that episode go to the journey where one of them has to lose their vote. So it's like, oh, okay, like the losers get worse off. And then we didn't see a move at that tribal council, which I think, part of the reason why is they were lacking a number.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the strong get stronger, I guess, would be more on the motif of this season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to keep going because we, I mean, we'll talk about it at the immunity challenge, but we get that advantage and Eva finds it no problem. She risks a 50-50 shot at losing it to gain more. Did you like that? Did you like her taking that risk? Was that worth it to her?
Yeah.
Or?
I mean, you're not actually risking anything. Like, if I don't have an extra vote, I don't have an extra vote. I still have my vote. And so why wouldn't you? And I think she stops in the right place because, 50-50 and then 1/3 is technically 1/6 chance of getting something. And that's a shot in the dark and no one's risking that.
Right.
And so it seemed pretty straightforward. The steps you should do. I don't think anybody expected her to not take the first and then expect her to take the last one.
Yeah.
Yep. Totally.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's fine, but it just also still displays the randomness of this modern game. Like just choosing a thing constantly, like that's all the tasks is just like choosing a thing, rolling a dice, doing like that. Like, could it have been more exciting, or is that as exciting as we can make that thing?
Oh, I don't know. Compared to the previous journeys they've had, which is like the dice rolling, I guess this one was better because they at least had some choice in it. That one was tough. That one I would be super, super frustrated with. But I mean, it's fine. It's a fine one. There was no risk to it, so I didn't feel like there was like weight on it. I didn't feel any kind of like nervousness when she's pulling it. Because even then, I lost my extra vote. She doesn't have to go back and lie. She can like be true to all of it.
The reworking of it could have been like she has to like, okay, you get this, but if you want to go one step further, you got to go back to camp. You got to go back to camp and wake someone up and bring them with you. And then if you want to get one step further, you got to go back and wake people up. But then the more people you wake up, the more people also know about your thing. And something where like it's a risk versus like a more risk versus reward.
Because there was
like,
no
you get
risk
it or you
this.
Don't. Yeah.
There was no risk in this. Of course, her first person, she would have gone back and gotten Joe and it would have been totally fine.
Sure.
But sneaking back into camp and waking up Joe and being like, hey, come with me. Actually, I like that idea.
Thank you.
Shaheen would have been like, what the hell?
Because two people going off together does make a huge difference.
Oh, then Shaheen would have lost his fucking mind, dude.
Do you think they told Shaheen you can't follow her? Like, because that's, in my head, I'm like, who doesn't follow her in that moment? Because
I don't know. They could have.
For those who don't know, Shaheen was an alternate on our season. And he was all over the place. Like, he knew he was an alternate. He told me I'd talk with him. He said, I was going to make sure I was memorable. And this guy was like totally fine with like blurring the lines of like being sneaky, like doing different things. Like he was giving people presents and stuff at, the pre-Ponderosa or pre-whatever. You know how they shut it down. And he was fine. So Shaheen seems like someone who would be more than happy to follow. So I don't know if like production, like you just got to wait till she comes back. Because that would make I did love the shot of the person lurking behind her as she was leaving.
It was great.
That was a great shot.
But to have that follow, a better shot would have been like following her with the person lurking without knowing who the person was until they get into the flame and then you see his face. Yeah. Yeah.
It would have been incredible. So I don't know. I feel we
could write Survivor.
How does he know that she's not just like going to the bathroom?
Because bathroom's a different direction. You typically know which way direct the bathroom is.
Well, then Eva should have like headed off in that direction and then like
that's what I
was
thinking. But she went straight to the beach, and that is not the way you go.
There's a lot other things to it too, Riley. Like you start keeping tabs on people who get up every night. Like it's like, okay, this person's getting up every night, so it's not that suspect. This person doesn't. This person sleeps through the night. This like you get a feel for who's moving at what time. And if Eva sleeps through the night or stays still through the night all the time, her getting up is an alarm. Like you see that you're like on high alert at that point. So like I get up
and the camera people. If a camera person goes with you, they know you're not going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like if you see a camera person following them, then you know, okay, it's
a camera person in camp at night like that when everybody's supposed to be asleep is enough of an alarm. Because the camera person usually, once you all lay down and are holding still, the camera person will usually walk like 100 yards off and sit down in a camp chair and just watch from a distance without a camera on.
They have a mic in their ear, or I guess a headphone in their ear so they can hear the mic at camp. Yeah. I would always try to hop up and look at the monitor on the camera because it tells you the time. And I was just like, how much longer of this darkness we have to deal with? And it would be like a timer. Right when I start moving, I could hear them coming. And so I've got to like sprint over there and try to adjust my eyes to see the monitor. But they're listening. I guess though, they've reached merge. There's probably two camera people or two overnight producers there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But yeah, they don't. The overnight producers don't move unless you're moving.
They don't.
Once in a while, you'll catch them catching some like late night moonrise B-roll, but generally they're just chilling. Sometimes they even fall asleep. I don't think they're supposed to.
That must be a tough job.
Yeah.
I was sleeping on a box on Blood versus Water. Just the ground was so hot and so uncomfortable, and we had this crate that was literally like half the size of me, and I was curled up in the fetal position on it to sleep, and I fell flat on my face off that box in dead sleep. And I popped up, and the producer like woke up. He was like sitting close by, and he heard it and woke up and looked, and I looked at him. I was like, "Did you get that on camera?" And he's like, "No." And I was like, "Dang." He's like,
"Do I need to do it again?"
Yeah.
I can do it again. Did you ever go on any night adventures with the producer?
Like this?
Like, yeah, something like that. No. Like I had to, whenever I had my box, I'd hidden it one place when I was looking for my idol. I wanted to move it to a different place. And we had this whole thing set up. They were like, okay, so not the night you want to do it. I was like, yeah, we're going to like run and do it tonight. And so they would like plan out and be ready to roll and run with you to the different places. But you never got to do an adventure?
No, but at night, Blood versus Water, everyone was on such high alert about who was talking to who and when that we would wake up in the middle of the night to talk strategy, which they kind of hated because they don't have all their nice equipment and cameras out there. So they kind of hated it. But it was like, this is the only time we can do it without being caught. So we'd wake up and just chit chat in the middle of the night, and they'd get the action, but it was like not, it wasn't their 150-pound camera and their boom,
with the boom
mic.
It
was just one little guy with a nice little handheld.
With the night vision, like scary ghoul looking.
Like, the Skeletor night vision.
As we talk about someone's doom. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And everybody looks extra gaunt. It's like the camera in the daytime adds 10 pounds, but the camera at night takes away 50.
It does. It's so scary.
So let's so there's this tension is building all day, and it's like it never stops. Like this tension is can you tell us a little bit about the tension? Did you feel this tension on your season that you're seeing here on camera, or is this extra?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go through. My grandmother, when I got back, bless her, was like, Hunter, one night I woke up and I just couldn't sleep. I just knew you were going through something stressful. And I was like, she asked me, was there a particular night that was extra stressful for you? I was like, I don't know. I was playing for 17 days a game where people were actively trying to vote me out. I'm sure at some point in the middle of that, I was stressed out. So you're probably pretty right in that. But you can feel it in this one, especially when you look at Kyle. Every conversation Kyle's having with people, it seems like he's got something in the back of his mind that he's like constantly calculating and thinking about. But I will say one of my favorite moments while all this is going on is, and I'm curious if you noticed it, is this weird similarity between Joe and Coach. The moment that David goes up and is like, "You went back on your word," and Joe's like, "Oh,
Joe's
no,
pissed. Joe is
oh no,
pissed.
I don't go back on my word ever. I would never do that. I would never do that." And it reminded me of Sierra back whenever he's like, "You've lied, Coach. You've lied before." And he's like, "I've never lied. Never in my life have I lied." And it was at that moment I knew, oh, David's toast. Yeah. David is done. Yeah. He's out of here, because that's one thing with someone like Joe, you don't question it. And so what I was thinking is, if we get this to production, I want season 50 to be Joe on one side, Coach on the other, and they just have like an honorable off, right? That one of them, like, they can't work together. They can't work together. I need them to be separate and have two groups that are just so honorable they can't lie to the other group. And I just want to see how that plays out. And they just talk about who is more honorable the whole time.
It's just like arguing about who's the most honorable. I am. No, I am.
Yeah,
I thought, I mean, Shaheen telling Joe that Eva was going out was total misread. And then you're right. Here, David misread Joe by accusing him. And I think David was trying to manipulate Joe into being like, oh, shit, you're right. I guess I'm sorry, and make it up to him. But instead, it lit a fire under Joe and got him pretty upset. And everyone's kind of bouncing around. Kyle recognizes he's in the middle here, and he can't be in the middle. And I think that this is very important for people in that middle role. At some point, you have to expose yourself. And if you don't, you're going to get caught out and go home. And I think Kyle did a pretty good job of recognizing, like, I need to make a decision. And I wanted to keep me and Camilla a secret as long as possible. But now is the time where I need to play the game and choose a side and go.
Do you think he was going to get rid of her? Do you think that was Camilla?
No. Okay. I think Kyle was going to fight for Camilla, and I think he had decided, like, this is the time to fight for Camilla and go against this group. So, but he'd been playing the middle for so long, and he'd been hiding that, and so I like that. Also, before we get to some of the other stuff, we have Mary talking about how the meat shields are targeted, and the meat shields fucking ate it up, dude. They ate it up.
They loved it.
Did you see them like all creaming their pants at the same time?
They're like, yeah,
we are the meat. We're the meat shields.
You get it.
Yeah. Why does Mary go so hard with this?
Persecuted us meat shields. It's finally our time, but they loved it. Did you see, like, just David lit up, Joe lit up, Shaheen lit up? They loved it, dude. They loved it so
every
much.
Moment of it.
If you're on the next season of Survivor, I mean, they're already out there filming right now, but you find a meat shield and just compliment them on being the meat shield, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I do have a great body. Yeah, I do.
You're right.
I take care of myself.
I deserve to be in this game. I deserve it. Yeah. that
even Eva, I forgot Eva was there too, and she was stoked to be a meat shield.
Yeah. Even at Mary's own expense, they're like, yes, you understand that we are better than you. Like, finally, someone sees that we've been wrong for too long, and at your own expense.
Yeah, Mary, can you say that again, but grovel at our feet more?
Could you actually just vote yourself out next? Like, whenever we get to the 6, you just need to volunteer to leave, because that would be right.
I think Mary's reading this situation right, and how high on their horses these guys all are, and is just like playing into their egos so perfectly. I hope that's what she's doing. If she's just like going along with it, weird, but I assume she's just feeding their egos, because she knows that, nothing a meat shield likes more than themselves.
Right. Just being fed all of the compliments
protein,
possible.
Yeah, all of the meaty compliments.
I heard just chocolate milk, no protein for David. None of those supplements. That and compliments. I think chocolate milk and compliments are what
builds his muscles.
That's what does it. But I will say, it's weird, because I don't know how this attachment between David and Mary became so strong. Like, did I miss where that came from?
No, it came out of nowhere.
It's like out of nowhere. she just all of a sudden is so close with David to where I almost feel like they're a pair.
Yeah, they are a pair, and he's definitely protecting her, and he's pulling her in, and he's adamant that she's part of the strong 5, now strong 6, which I think is a weird thing to keep calling it. If you're David, why not just say it was always the strong 6? Mary was always with us. Like, I'd rather, I mean,
look at her. She's yoked. Like, obviously.
but then that's when you start doing gymnastics, and you're like, yeah, she is strong too. She's mentally strong. Oh, she's strong in a different way. Her character is strong. Oh yeah. When we said strong, we meant that we're the honorable, most integrity filled people. Like there's so many ways. Like that's all you do. It's so easy. Like, and everybody knows that.
Because they put their foot down. They're like, we are not the puzzle strong people.
Yeah,
like even to this day, I've met someone. They're like, we are not the puzzle strong people. We are the physically strong people.
Okay.
And they're like not dissuading from that. And also, again, Mary being there, it's just like, well, why even call it the strong 6 if we're just going to like invite anybody? We're just a group that's working together, and that would be fine. But I don't know. Like you said, the unity of strong really, holds them together. I will say though, what's interesting in this is that if you the juxtaposition of Kyle's approach and David's approach to this, David, I will say, is being logically truthful, but Kyle is being an emotional liar. Like he is playing with Joe's emotions and lying to him. But David is being truthful and logical, but it's not what David wants to hear. Or sorry, what Joe wants to hear. Because David is spot on with the fact that Shaheen and Camilla and what's the other one? Kyle have something going on. He's like pointing that out, and you can tell how frustrated it would be to be seeing this. But on the other side, Kyle is using other ways to appeal to emotion. Like even having that side conversation with Joe.
I want to talk about that. So we get this very sad backstory of what a fucking badass Kyle was as a kid, dude. Just like a party animal, super popular, drinking underage, being a fucking badass in jail, and still making grades with professors coming to him. And it's so sad to see an upbringing where a dude's just so badass and popular. Like, it's sad. It's sad. Ashleigh, are you sad for Kyle about what a badass he was?
I cried.
I was crying too. Hunter, wasn't that sad that he was so cool?
Oh, I know. And the fact that his professors were like willing to come to him.
Acing his exams from jail.
For being a badass.
While they were watching, what do you say, Game of Thrones in the background?
Didn't even get to finish Game of Thrones.
Listen, we each have our hurdles in life. And Kyle was too fucking popular and cool. And that's hard. Like, not everybody would be able to bear that burden. And so, like, it's good to see. And I'm cool too. So it's good for me to see that other people have gone through that struggle.
That representation.
Too cool. Exactly. Like, and so, like, I'm just like, it really hit me in my heart where I was like, finally, someone I can relate to being such a badass. Like, I never went to jail. I wasn't that cool to like do all that party animal stuff, but like, I kind of felt it, and I was like, I'm cool too. And it was awesome.
Yeah, especially on this. You know who did really love it though was Joe. Joe was like, this
could relate.
This explains everything. This explains why maybe you want to vote me out. Like, I think if he'd be like, and that's why I have to vote you out, Joe. And he'd be like, you're right. Like, that is what I want you to do. But he ate it up. And good for Kyle for using that to his advantage to explain why he was being shady before, to explain why maybe he's close with Camilla. It's just, I was like, wow, okay.
To why confrontation is hard for him, why the tension is difficult. Because he's a party animal, bro. He's a party animal at heart. And you can take the party from the animal, but you can't take the animal from the party.
Right. I didn't get the connect on that, and maybe we were missing some pieces of it. I didn't get where the confrontation was hard because of some of the things he faced. But again, I think it's great gameplay on Kyle because he has recognized how much Joe
values being a party animal.
Like, that part. Yeah, exactly. And that's. But I thought it was great. But I didn't quite see the connect logically for me. I wasn't quite following it.
Did I miss something too, Ashleigh or Riley? Was there something I missed there, or was just Kyle telling us what a badass he was as a college student?
I don't know. I was thinking about it too. I was thinking when he was talking about it, I was like, okay, so he was drinking a bunch as a child, basically, and then got arrested and went to parties, went to jail for, what was it, like 13 days, was able to pass all his classes in those 13 days while he was in jail.
From the comfort
doing
of jail.
super well.
And that is maybe confrontation gives him PTSD about jail. Maybe that's
he was trying to get him to turn Game of Thrones down.
Yeah.
He was like, turn Game of Thrones down.
And they're like, no, we're going to bust your computer up. And he was like, oh, no, please.
Yeah. I wonder if there was some sort of like, David, trying to like bring them along in this plan that he didn't really want to do, like reminds him of like,
peer pressure.
This group of people. Yes, exactly. Like peer pressure, getting caught up in all that, and like some sort of like loss of control. Like that's kind of what ties it together.
Yeah.
But it wasn't super clear. That connection was not very clear.
Yeah. Even in prison, it seems like he had a lot of control. Like they let him go to take an in-person test. Like he was doing these papers. Like he had. So I'm sure there was some connect that we must have missed.
Good way to ace your exams and do your midterms and stuff is just be in prison.
Yeah.
It was like, this is the best grades I ever got.
That's all you can do. It's all you can do.
It's all they let you do, except for watch Game of Thrones. Even there, you can't escape TV. Like there is still
that was the struggle. Do you think
they have wedding boot camp in prison? Do you think he could have seen that?
Marriage boot camp? Probably, yeah.
Marriage.
That was 10 years ago. Kyle was probably like 12.
Well, he was underage.
Yeah, he's
he
like
was underage, so we don't know how young. Anyway.
Yeah. And Eva here is feeling very comfortable with everybody. She hates the tension. She's just like, I feel great with everybody. Mm-hmm. Will anybody be able to vote out Eva? Because I'm watching this and I'm like, this is great. And Eva has shown her struggles with autism. Mm-hmm. But me as a player, I'm not stepping forward to wage war on Eva. She has Joe locked in. And in this day and age, you have to consider the repercussions on social media of going against a hero on a reality TV show.
They have to target her soon, though, just for gameplay reasons. I know you're saying, like that you target a hero and maybe that's in the back of people's minds, but she's safe at 2 tribal councils now with an idol and with a safety without power. And most people, probably just about everybody on the island, knows about it.
You have to make her flush something at least.
She's part of this super, super tight duo, the tightest duo in the game. And we know that those are super powerful. And she's great at challenges. And she's got the compelling backstory. It's like, I know that the backstory makes it tough, but like, how can you keep her around? You got to get rid of her.
Yeah, but you can't spearhead it. You have to convince others to spearhead it and then jump on. Unless you want the hatred of social media to come after you.
Oh, whatever. I don't know.
You could do like David and be like, hey, Shaheen said he really wanted Eva out. Try that. My friend said that. But it is hard because you see how Joe's playing. And even the threat of Joe just getting super upset about it is there. Because he seems like that is, even when he's taking this person when he takes Eva on the reward again, you're like, my goodness, I think she's eaten every single time. Yeah. Also, they are eating so much this season. Like I was trying to think back to previous episodes, and I think for the past 3 or whatever,
they've all gained weight.
They are actually gaining weight. Gaining
except for Mitch.
Back.
Yeah, except for Mitch.
Except for Mitch. Yeah, he has not had the opportunity. So I was glad that he got to go. But it is hard because it is so clear that those two are working together, and with all the advantages she has. It's one thing, the public appeal that will come of like going after a hero on this season, but then also she has so many things that she can fight back with, like the idol and the safety without power. It's like, man, that is an uphill battle. However, the only thing that may help is I think just the way the jury's going, you may be able to, instead of trying to get rid of her, paint her in in a bad light in terms of they've been playing this way and it's ruined all of your games. Like you see the jury already is reacting and being
super annoyed to the meat
we
shields.
Don't like this way this is playing. We didn't want to play this game. This isn't what we wanted. And at what point does it flip and say, oh, the jury is actually less in favor of her than we thought? But it would be a hard thing to approach.
I think the other thing that will make it really hard for players like Star and Mitch and those guys to go against Eva is because Joe is so tight with her. It's like, now who do I pull in that isn't tighter with Eva or Joe than me? Like, who can I go to with this plan that's not going to tell one of the two? Because those Eva and Joe also have their web spreading outside a little bit, where some people will run and tell Eva, some people will run and tell Joe. Granted, there's a lot of crossover there, but there's also some different people. So then your pool shrinks even more. And that's like Survivor in a nutshell is like, who can I trust to go against the grain in this moment enough that they're not going to just rat me out and I'm the next one going home?
Yeah. Yeah. And the season of honor and truth and transparency, I don't know that you're going to
and strong big muscles
and strong people. Are there any advantages out there that aren't being held by Eva?
No, she's got, and I was actually not clear. Did she keep the extra vote in addition to the safety without power? Yes.
No, I think she just.
I
thought she got one. She gets to trade. Yeah, she forewent it to take a risk at getting the safety without power.
Yeah, so she's got both of those, and no one else says anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Camilla could maybe put together the pieces of like, hey, we probably don't want to go to the end with these two. Joe and
she's super savvy too. I will say this about Camilla. She is doing an incredible job of something that's one of the hardest things to do in Survivor, which is like content with like being quiet, content with like trusting that things are going to work out and not feeling this big move pressure and trusting her ally to like look out for her best interest. I can think back to my season. I thought me, Liz, and Tevin were like locked in. I was trying to do the infamous secret six that went absolutely nowhere. But part of it was I was planning on keeping Liz with us. I was like, we are the three that I am most concerned about. But Liz did not like the idea of just having to wait a few votes. She wanted to make a big move. She wanted to go crazy. Tyson, I even tried to name drop you to convince her to not do it. I was like, Tyson talked about on his podcast, you can't make a move too early. And she was like, no, I got to make it now. Like, it's got to happen now. Otherwise, I'm going to look like an idiot. I haven't played this game. I haven't done anything. I've got to make a move now. And I was like, why is the move voting out Tevin? Why is that the move that you're choosing to make right now? And so Camilla being able to say, I'm going to sit here and let this game move a little bit without being the one in the driver's seat is like a big thing for someone to be able to do. And so she's definitely got some brains with her.
Hunter, you were on the jury. How do you feel about Camilla when she says at tribal council, like, oh, well, people need to think about how they're coming across the jury? Is it kind of like she's right and so it doesn't matter? Or because what I think could happen is it's sort of like, who are you to say what the jury thinks? Like if you're sitting over there, it's kind of like, I almost feel like the contestants still in the game should not pretend to know what the jury is thinking at all.
You have to try and get a read on the jury.
But you can't, but like I'm saying her expressing it, her being like, oh, you're probably not looking good to the jury. It's like, how, like if I was on the jury, I'd be like, how do you know what I think?
Yeah, I think she's got a good read on the jury right now in that she knows that they felt powerless and she's like giving them power back. Like Chris, whenever, oh goodness, I've forgotten her name. The girl who just left.
Chrissy.
Okay, I did have it right. Whenever Chrissy was leaving, she felt completely powerless. And when Camilla was mentioning it before, she was like nodding and agreeing. And so continuing that through line, that conversation, I think does give like Camilla some power and almost reinforces and sways the people on the jury without actually having to be over there. Because you see them, they're like, yeah, that's right. We do have the power and we do think what you're doing is stupid. And so she's running with it. But it's really up to, like, I think it's case by case with how they handle it. I know some people on our season were really frustrated, like found it super annoying if someone was trying to play the jury. Like they would make looks over there and they'd be like, I wish that person would quit looking at me with with that facial expression, thinking I'm going to like vote for them because of how they're looking at me. And so it's just case by case, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I also think that if I'm sitting on that jury and Camilla says that, I understand that she's weaponizing the idea of the jury to the integrity group, and it's totally fine. That doesn't, if it's somebody being like, well, I look good and you don't, and the jury agrees and looks over and gives you the thumbs up, that's one thing. That's wrong. That's probably not always going to work out. But if you're like, hey, strong people, you just have to understand that if you guys are the group and you didn't let anybody in, you didn't even let anybody try, then when they get to the jury, they're going to be upset. So I think it cracks the game open a little bit. I also think that I think from a jury standpoint, that's fine. Weaponizing the jury is good gameplay if you can do it properly.
But so now does this sort of come back on Camilla because she's like, oh, you guys aren't thinking about the jury. That comment is pointedly about David, who then ends up on the jury this episode. Like he probably is not feeling super awesome about Camilla.
But you have to balance that. It's like, okay, I might not get David's vote, but maybe I've won the other two as locks. Like it's a numbers game at that point, and you have to draw a line with the numbers. Like you can't not. You just are ambiguous and indifferent the whole way through. Then you're gonna get no numbers. So,
and I think Camilla, like she knows that David is actually burning more bridges with Eva and Joe with that vote. I think he's way more like frustrated with them. Like Camilla just kind of been like a gnat, but the person who stabbed him in the back was Joe and Eva. So if he's mad at anybody, I feel like it's those two, which is where they found themselves in an interesting spot because even Mary seems like kind of betrayed by them in this situation when they seem like they were still trying to work together. But you never know.
You never know. We're into the immunity challenge now. And we had that was a lot of episode before we got to the challenge. I think we got to it all. Lots of talking, lots of back and forth. The war is brewing. Something's happening. The integrity 5, now 6 is imploding. And the immunity challenge starts the way we really hate it to start, with Jeff doing a British accent. Which is really horrible. Did that before. I almost turned off the TV. I was like, But then he does the thing that also is weird, is from the British accent straight into the OnlyFans voice to describe the reward. Ham and cheese. Soda and peach cobbler.
Dude, ham and cheese wraps too.
What?
Ham and cheese wraps is kind of a rough reward too. That's like what you eat when you have nothing else in the fridge. You're like, I guess I have ham and cheese. Yeah, but come on, man. Like, come on. Why can't, like, at least when it's like spaghetti and meatballs or something, I'm like, all right, that's a meal. You know, it's still like a staple. But ham and cheese.
But what about you? Yeah, but you're saying ham and cheese. But what if I said ham and cheese?
I'm about to take my headphones out if you keep doing that.
You feeling like dessert?
No, I wish he would have just continued the accent.
The British, you prefer British over OnlyFans?
No, but I want him to commit to the bit. I want him to be like, and you're playing for fish and chips today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some fish and chips.
We're going across the pond today. Fish and chips. That would have been hilarious.
Man. I prefer his real voice to any of the accents he's trying to pull off here.
Do you think he's been watching like Traders or like the Australian Survivor? And it's like, I want to tap into some of that. Like, I think what we're missing is a little bit of an accent. Or is he just showing his vocal range?
I think he's just trying to have fun out there and like make things light and stuff. And it's just, it's not for me. I don't know who it's for. If you're listening to this podcast and it's for you, please sound off in the comments because I'm not understanding. I'm just not.
And if we get 100 people in the comments sounding off, then Tyson will do the next podcast completely in a British accent.
In the Ozzy Osbourne voice.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I do think he's just having fun. I will be honest. Sometimes in class, I'm like, I'm so sick of talking. I'm gonna do it in something different, and then it lasts 2 seconds because I get so uncomfortable. Like, this is weird. Yeah. I realize what I'm doing. I'm like, this is weird, and so I stop. But I get it. He's out there having a good time. But I got tickled. I said, that is hilarious.
Yeah. So he goes into those, and then this has to be Jeff's dream. A challenge for strong people.
Yeah, this challenge
doing curls. And it's just like, let's see.
This is like the moment this challenge came up. I was like, okay, so it's going to be Joe and David again.
Yeah. And why isn't 6 years ago, Jeff would have been calling Joe, Shaheen, Kyle, and David all by their last names. It would have been
wait, what are
Malarkey, Gunkel, Finkel, and Smith. I don't know. I just made up all their names.
No, Joe's last name is Hunter. So it would have just been Hunter. And so that would have been confusing. It's like, it's his first name.
But Jeff puts a different twang on the last name so that you know it's the last name.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I don't know how you would do. Is it British?
No, it's not British. It's just like more exciting. Hunter. So it'd be like, so if it was you versus Joe and he was calling Joe by his last name, it'd be like Hunter versus Hunter.
That would have been hilarious.
And then he'd rub his shoulders a little bit while he's doing the challenge, ignoring you.
Yeah.
It's just like a strongman challenge. Like, there's no counterweights for body weight. There's nothing. It's just like, who can hold a curl position the longest, and not designed for anyone. It's just free for all. No problem. Everybody's got a chance here. Except for everybody that doesn't have bicep muscles, immediately out. Immediately. Finally, a season for strong guys.
That was the truth, because it was like, well, maybe it's not that hard to hold it up. It's more of a focus thing, but it was like bam, 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 bam. Yeah. All the people not in the strong alliance.
Yeah.
We're not defining people's strength or not strength. We're going to let the game do that. But it was very fast. I was curious. It was like the bands on the bottom were going to be different depending on who you were.
No, because it was random, randomly selected where you went. So all of the challenges were identical.
It was just a curl. You were just curling.
A curl.
Yeah.
I know the production team's like, they see what's on the docket and they're like, hey, make sure you make this challenge epic. And they're standing there like this for 20 minutes. I love the slow motion.
The slow-mo. I was having it written in my notes too, of hands holding. Like, that could have not been slow-mo and we wouldn't have known the difference.
except for the sweat. The sweat dripping down was the only thing that kind of added a little bit to it. But I was like, the production team's got to be like, oh, why do we have this high quality camera just to it could have been a podcast. Like, we could have not even used it. Like, they probably would have enjoyed Jeff's voice more.
Just British accent, just Jeff's British accent, talking about the challenge. David, so it comes down to David versus Joe, two Goliaths with big biceps. And David turns over to Joe and says, Joe's struggling with it. The ball's slipping.
Yes.
And David goes, I'll pick Joe for reward if I win this. And Shaheen is like, not having it. Shut up, David, is what he says from
Kyle
the bench.
Said that.
Oh, Kyle said, shut up, David?
I thought Shaheen said it. I don't know. Well, tell us in the comments.
I think the sentiment was shared between the both of them.
I think they looked at each other, And Eva openly cheering for Joe. If there was any doubt from anyone, which there wasn't, that Eva and Joe were ride or dies no matter what till the end for time and all eternity.
Dude, if someone doesn't start targeting this duo next episode, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah. If anybody wasn't sure, I know it's been a little bit fuzzy up until this point. I think this is what sold it. This is what...
These challenges where you're against somebody and the bench people are cheering for the other person is infuriating. It's absolutely infuriating. If I'm David in this moment and I hear Eva constantly cheering for Joe, I already know they're together. Her cheering for him just makes me against her.
Yeah.
Even though I already know. Yeah, go ahead.
That happened with me on when the episode where I got voted out. It was me and Charlie hanging on this devil contraption. It's terrible. And they were all it was very obvious. The whole group was cheering for Charlie. Like, you had to keep your butt against the back thing. They were all binoculars, watching to see if I came off in it. And it was not a good feeling. And I still didn't play my idol. And so not something I like to admit, but it is not a good feeling when the whole group is like, oh, he's almost off. You got it, Charlie. You stay on there. He's almost off. He's off.
Yeah. Come on, Charlie. Come on, Charlie. Come on, Charlie. And then you drop and everybody cheers.
I know. It is not a good feeling. It is not a good feeling at all.
It's an amateur move.
Yeah, it was funny with this one just to watch them two back and forth because there was no doubt who was going to be there, and you know David is so mad. He's like, "This is my challenge."
Immediately. This is what he's drank all that chocolate milk for.
Yeah, what was the chocolate milk for? What's even the point of being in a strong alliance if I'm not the strongest?
Yeah, exactly. It's embarrassing for him. His biceps aren't even as strong as Joe's, and Joe's just like an old guy who's like, trying his best. Joe was like, finally the old dudes. I was like, you're the old dude with the biggest biceps here, and you're not that old. Like, strength can go on until you're like 45 or 50.
Yeah.
Like my dad's 70. He's probably stronger than me still.
Jeff blamed it on David's legs giving out. He said David's legs gave out and he fell off. I was like, I don't really know that his legs gave out, but he did step off. But
he did lose his balance a little bit. And so, yeah. And David's so mad he can't even hardly look at Joe because it was his to have. And I'll
be honest.
Yeah.
If I lose a challenge, please don't come hug me. Please do not. Like, go and get your necklace. Just don't feel like you have to like patronize me. Like, you did a great job. Like, no, I didn't. I lost. What do you mean?
I think it's good sportsmanship to go over and give a fist bump and be like, good
I don't
battle,
like
bro.
it though.
You don't like
personally, it? I don't like to be the receiving one of that. I don't like it.
Sure. But I'm going to anyways.
Tyson, you like when someone, I know you, if I was a winner, I would do that as well. But like, you like it when someone's like, hey, you did great. You did great.
I think there's a balance to it. There's a balance if you can do it without hubris and cockiness and just give them a fist bump and be like, that was a great battle, dude. I didn't think I was going to pull it out. And like, you're awesome. Like you need some interaction there. Otherwise you're like, oh, that asshole just won the whole thing and then didn't even say anything to me, just walked off. You prefer that, Hunter? If I'm like, suck it, Hunter, I'm going to go hug the people on the bench and take my thing.
Yes. Part of me, but what's funny was how much David just talks about how he should have won that one. He's like, I should have won that one. That was mine. That's pissing Joe off. It's got to make Joe like, because he's not accepting that he lost. He's like, no offense to Joe, but I should have won. I should have won. I could have won. It was mine to lose. So that's also not a gracious loser so I want to backtrack there. So you and I, Hunter, head to head, we're playing for immunity. And it is a grind. It doesn't matter. It's just a grind. It's gone on for an hour. Okay.
And you slip up and you lose. And I was maybe the weaker one there, and we both recognized it, but you ended up making a little mistake and stepped off or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we both kind of collapsed because we're physically exhausted. And I just come over and I'm like, well played, bro. You had it in the bag, and that was some shitty luck. You're not liking that? You're not like, okay, cool. Thanks, Tyson, for recognizing.
I think I would take it. Like, I would receive it, but I don't
from
like
me
it.
because I'm your favorite Survivor player. But,
of course. But I'm sure it would be so tactful from you. He would be so nice. There would be no dirt throw. But because it happened to me with Charlie, and it's like, I appreciate like the sentiment of it, but in the moment, it's like not what I need. It's not what I'm looking for.
What are you looking for?
I don't know. It's like, let's just get on with this. Let's just move forward. I don't need to dwell on the fact that you just beat me. I don't want that.
Was it insulting because it was Charlie? Like, what if it had been like a David or a Joe or somebody that was good at stuff?
No, I knew going
just
into
kidding.
that time.
We love Charlie.
I just
just kidding.
What you said. I just called you. He beat me on that one, so I can't even say anything. I knew there was a good chance I was losing that one, but I personally, and I don't know, people in future contests to me are going to be like, jerks just walk off, I guess. But in that moment, it's hard to receive that. At least for me, it is. It's like, I feel like an idiot in that, especially if it's one that David feels so much like he was going to win. Like he felt like this was mine to win. Because, and I guess there's like some hubris in this where I didn't, and maybe I'm just like too keen on this. Whenever Joe calls Mitch over to get the reward and he taps him on the shoulder, it's like, it's okay, buddy. That would send me up a wall. Like, I don't need your like charity.
You're welcome.
I don't need to be, like
I think he says you're welcome.
For,
my pleasure, buddy. That's what he said. He said, my pleasure, buddy.
Yeah, I wrote it down. It's like it's okay, buddy, or thank you, buddy.
Yeah,
and I'm like
the it's okay stuff was weird. Yeah.
He said it's okay. He said it's okay, but he like taps him on the shoulder, and like that
he's
kind of
filled with integrity, and he's a hero.
Yeah, that's what you do. It's everyone
you're
is
passing
your
it on to the minions underneath you, who don't have it as good as you, even though you might have grown up a party animal. You came through that.
You never
being
know.
Popular, cool guy, all those, and
you don't know what it's like.
You don't know what it's like.
You don't know what it's like. And I don't think there's any maliciousness in Joe in this, but it's that kind of stuff that would just kind of like Greg was like, don't call me buddy.
Yeah.
Don't act like you're doing me a service. But in that moment, you had like Mitch, you're like, I've really got like, thank you so much. You were my hero. Thank you for this food that you're giving me.
Yeah. So he chooses Mitch, human to human move, no strategy. Jeff asks him. And then he chooses Shaheen and Eva, his number one. And I wanted to get your take on it because it sounded like it was just going to be 3 and then it ended up being 4. And then do you think this number is set beforehand on how many are going to get selected for the reward? Or do you think it's a case by case, depending on how Jeff sees the moment? Jeff's feeling in the moment.
I would say it's probably set before because it seems like it's always like one less than the majority or a number that would put them at a disadvantage. And so I'm thinking 4 was preset.
Okay.
But talk about rewards and like calling people. I remember you talking about how you want to go on a reward by yourself. And I remember back to after I got voted out, and you've been there on Ponderosa, if they're going on a reward the next day because you don't have anything to do. They're not taking you to tribal. And I was sitting there at Ponderosa actually getting massaged the day after, which is a terrible idea because you're trapped with your thoughts with this like quiet music playing, and they take a towel, they put it over your face. And I was like locked in a box with myself thinking about what's wrong. And I got so mad, like they're on a reward. I know I would have won. And I know out of spite, I would have not taken anybody just because Tyson has talked about it so much.
You would have been my hero.
That was another time I was like, I'm so frustrated because that would be the perfect moment. All these people try to lie to me. If I'd have played that idol, I'd be sitting wherever at the Applebee's reward by myself. And you think Liz was mad with Q. Like, imagine if I went by myself.
So beautiful. So beautiful, Hunter. And you would have been my favorite Survivor player.
I know, but I failed. It's okay.
Instead of me being still my favorite Survivor player.
Yeah, it's tough competition. But that's the kind of thought I was sitting with in that, getting massage. It was my first massage ever. It was the worst experience. And I was like, this is not the way to start off.
Your massage life.
Yeah.
Well, but you bring up a good point. So you do, when you exit the game, you do run through like the regrets and like, obviously, you would have done that because it would have been absurd and ridiculous and you're already out of the game. So at that point, you're looking back and thinking, what's the most absurd thing I could do that would have at least made great TV to ensure that Survivor calls me back, now knowing that I'm not going to actually win this thing. Of course, your mind goes there. But
the game is different.
In the game is different.
I will say I was pretty mad with how the last day had played out. I might have done it just with how the people I was working with were making such crazy choices, and I was like, I'm ready to like burn this place to the ground.
Yeah, and I'm telling you right now, if you had done that, there would be one head on the Mount Rushmore of Survivor to be you.
Well,
only you, Hunter.
I don't know, but that's something else to keep me awake at night to think about.
Yeah, now knowing how much we would have idolized you here with the pod has spoken Mount Rushmore of Survivor only being Hunter.
Yeah.
Wow. Incredible. Yeah. And then just like 3 blank stones.
Just waiting to be filled. You as a placeholder in each of them.
Sure. Yeah. But only as a placeholder.
Okay.
So, yeah. Let's go to the scramble here. And David is so mad coming back, and Mary is consoling him. Like, I don't know. I feel gross for Mary in this moment. I don't know if everybody has that feeling, but it's like, I get it. Like, you do what you got to do on Survivor, and you know that David needs that consolation in that moment. So even if you're feeling it's ridiculous, you have to like kind of be like, buck up, kiddo. You had strong muscles too, buddy. Don't worry about your muscles. They're probably still adequate, you failure.
We all thought you were going to win. Isn't that enough?
Isn't that, we knew you would win. Doesn't that give you anything? And then they are certain. And I think like there's good reads here. Was good reads last week. There's good reads this week. David knows something is wrong with Kyle and Shaheen and Camilla mixed in there somewhere. And I appreciate that he has his fingers on the pulse enough to understand that. Like, he can really feel it to the point where he keeps saying it. And everybody else is like, I don't know. And Eva's like, I trust everybody because I'm safe and in the middle. And David, spot on. He's spot on here. And is he good? Is it a good read, or is it just so obvious?
No, it seems like they have made like really good reads this far.
Yeah.
If nothing else, he has been reading it correctly.
Yeah.
Like, he is constantly seeing that there's something going. He's misread it in that he thinks Shaheen and Camilla are the close ones. He's misread that, but he knows that three are up to something. And so he is spot on with that, which you see adds to his frustration of, why don't y'all see it? Why are y'all so blind to this? And the thing is, he's already burned that bridge with Joe with being like, you're a liar. And that door like slammed closed in that moment, to where it's like, it doesn't matter how logical or how honest you are, even how honorable, like, you've burned that bridge. It's tough.
Yeah. It's
this
true.
is where it feels like David's like relative inexperience with Survivor really shows, is that because he has the right read as far as the relationships, mostly, with the exception of kind of like Shaheen and Camilla, but he just doesn't know that you just can't push that hard.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you
especially if nobody else is fully seeing it. That's when you have to expose it before you can push on it.
Whereas like contrasted with Shaheen, who understands that it's like, you lay these plans subtly and you do it over days and days and days and through a lot of conversations. And you don't just try and like hammer it home the way that David does.
And I did really, really like that moment where we did see the flashback of Shaheen laying the groundwork to target David.
I like that.
And even the confessional of him saying so. And it's true. Like, you can't formulate a plan, get it going in one day. It's very hard. You have to lay the seeds without causing suspicion or between everybody. It's just little stuff, initially, like, oh, David's doing this. Oh, this is happening. Oh, and we get the line, welcome to the party, David. I've been here for a while. Also a good little line.
That was a fun one.
Yeah. and Eva's in the middle, so she's torn. And Joe and Eva both saying they're with each other no matter what. Is there any doubt in your mind that it's David at this point?
No, the writing on the wall has seemed pretty strong at this point. You're like, they haven't actually said his name, but you can tell where this is going. Like, this, he's burning the bridges. But the sad thing, he's like doing it in like the most obvious. Like, the viewer can see that he is right in all of this, but you're like, just don't do it that way. And he's got such an uphill battle because Shaheen has been doing such a good job. And even Kyle has been doing such a good job. Even whenever Kyle is talking to Joe and he's like, hey, I think David might be coming after me and Shaheen for whatever reason. Like, why can't me and Shaheen walk off and without him getting mad? And then David walks up, Kyle walks off, and David's like, hey, have you been seeing that, like, Kyle and Shaheen have been walking off together? And Joe's like, that's just what he was saying you were going to say. And so some of the timing was just tough. It was bad. I can remember even watching the season that you won with Hayden trying to fight against the group of three that you had with Monica and Jervis, and just being like, yeah, it's so obvious that they are running this thing. And this is my first season I saw of you, Tyson, so I wasn't as big of a Tyson fan because you were so locked in that season. It wasn't as big of a character, but I was like, yeah, he's so right in this, but people aren't listening. They aren't listening to the fact that they should be turning and trying to deal with these three that are in so control. And that's what's happening with David. He just is not. He's not getting any traction.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is hard. But I mean, also everybody's trying to do what's best for them. And if David's like feeling like it's best for him, great. If he's like reading that it's best for also them, he may be misreading that. And I think that a lot of people get locked into that mindset of what's best for me is best for the group. And you have to determine when what's best for you is no longer best for your group. You have to, in Mary's words at Tribal Council, strike first. Even though she goes on, we're into Tribal Council here. Mary says strike first, or what if you strike first and the other person was never going to strike? That's the balance you're really trying to go for here. And I think the way you do that is when you determine that what's best for you is not best for your group. That's when you have to strike, because you have to assume they're going to come for you soon after, when you are voicing opinions that don't align with what's best for their game.
Well, then I have to ask you, do you think that the David group was better for Joe and Eva? Because I feel like it wasn't. I feel like it was a wrong move for them.
I mean, you have David and Mary, and if they're a lock, and if Joe and Eva are a lock, that's 4. How many are still in the game? That's not enough.
Right now. But my thought here is that they aren't aware of this group that's forming of the 3, because it's giving so much power to Kyle and Camilla and Shaheen. I almost feel like they've chosen the wrong route on that, because even Star, I don't know where Star is in this.
Yeah,
Star's been voting with the 6. Star's been working with, even now she voted with David and Mary.
Yeah,
and so
we'll get to Star right here, but first I want to tell you that you get Joe and Eva, and to answer your question, they're going to beat David in the end. If they can figure out a way to keep David, they're going to beat Mary in the end too, because the jury is not stoked on Mary, because she's attached to David and she's so locked into David. And you've got 2 couples that are ride or dies. And if you're the couple that is more liked, I think you really try to keep that thing together.
Well, that's what I mean, because they voted out the public enemy number 1 to the jury. Like, the jury does not like David.
Yes.
And David and Mary were still very much wanting to play with Eva and Joe.
Yeah.
Even by how vocal and open they were with, I don't trust those 2. Like David being willing to share that shows that he's not going behind Joe's back. He's very upfront with Joe. And so we'll see how it plays out, but I think they did misplay on that.
And I don't think I think that if Eva or Joe is at the end, they're not getting David's vote, because he's so betrayed.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So we get into Tribal Council. We get Camilla talking about the jury, and Star. Well, first of all, we can talk about this first. So we get Camilla talking about the jury, and Star's just laughing. Star just laughs, and then openly is just like, yeah, she's just saying, she's not going to vote for you if she's on the jury over there, David, which I thought was so funny. And then the other thing is that Star kind of pulls a Chrissy here, where she's like, you can see the shifts in the game. I'm looking for cracks, and I'm trying to get a crowbar in there and bust it open. Like, voicing that for Chrissy was very, very dangerous. I think it's very dangerous to voice this at Tribal Council to the strong group, especially if you're trying to convince some of the strong group to eat themselves at this Tribal Council. You see Eva's look on her face, and Eva even says, I feel solid. I don't feel swayed by the crowbar. And I'm...
because we're strong. You're going to need more than a crowbar to break.
Yeah, because we all have... Because I'm in hockey, and everybody's strong here with big biceps. We were the Final 4 at the last curling challenge. So, I think was that bad of Star there, or was that too much, or was that good, or neither?
I think it has the potential to be bad, but it wasn't bad for her now, because the infighting in the strong group is such a big distraction to them. It's so interesting how little they seem to be talking to Star. Like, she's just not in the conversation. She's left out of this vote. They're like, we know that the inroads that you're trying to make, with David and with Mary are actually leading nowhere because David's going home and you don't even know it. And so I think they have confidence in where they're going that they are like not even really paying attention to what Star's saying. Yeah. But it was funny whenever she rephrases what Camilla says, and he's not going to get her vote at the end. And Dave's like, I don't care. And it's like, Dave, what do you mean? You don't care? Like, why is that your response? Like, brush it off, man. Like, what? Okay, I respect it, I guess, just not caring.
I mean, it's kind of, what else do you say there? I thought it was kind of funny. And then we get Kyle saying, we can see the path to the end, but I'm in don't screw it up mode. And I think that is like the mode. It like as you start seeing the finish line, you're like, okay, don't screw it up. Every move has to matter. I got to be on the right side. I got to control things. I don't want to stick my neck out too far. It catches a lot of people out, but you can't help but get into that mindset, I think, as you get close to the end. So how do you not screw it up?
Well, it's about having conversations and like keeping people comfortable. And he's been doing a great job of that. And he's got Camila, who seems like she's ride or die with him, like willing to just sit there and take things. And so he's just got to make sure he plays his cards of like maintaining who he's around and maintaining what the choices are and making people feel in the loop. It's the moment that people start to feel like they're outside of the loop that trouble starts happening. Like that's what happened in my group. And I thought someone was with me, like locked for sure. I was telling people this person is with us 100%, that I was wrong because you got to check in and check again and do all these things. But it's a don't look too far ahead and make sure you're keeping those relationships up to date.
Yeah, I agree. And just trying to get as much information as you can from people, not overplaying and spooking people. I think that was a lot of David's downfall here. Was he could see that stuff was happening and he got spooked, and then in turn kind of freaked a lot of other people out, and then that was a problem. Is there a way David can stay with his girlfriend after this, or is this it for him?
Oh, I forgot about that. It's over.
It's over?
Yeah, you had to win.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe
it's probably for the best, it sounds like.
Yeah, it did sound like the most healthy relationship. I don't know. You're the one who should speak on that as the marriage boot camp guy.
That's true.
I didn't survive.
Maybe that is the path
the next
now.
move.
David's next step is he's on marriage boot camp.
That could be. Good luck there. I think that does it. Anything else that we missed here? David's gone. A couple people voted Mitch, and David is pissed. You can tell he's pissed, but he composes himself to give some closing words that don't reflect how upset he is, which I wish he would just open up. I love it more when people open up.
I thought he was about to, because he kind of turned around.
He turned to say something. Yeah.
He's about to try to expose a bunch of stuff and say something, but he stopped and then turned and walked out of there. I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I agree. Let's get to Riley's reads real quick. Riley, what do we have?
All right, give me your favorite moment of the episode.
I mean, my favorite moment is David taking a back seat. I'm just going to take a back seat, but Mary wants Camilla. And then Kyle's like, I'll do whatever. And David's like, okay, then let's all vote Camilla. I just love that moment. It was just like showcased David and his strategy here, where he was just like trying not to be in control, but has to be in control. I loved it. Hunter, what do you got?
that was a great one. I loved the coach flashback, at least that I got, whenever he said, hey, you went against your word, which wasn't a lie. And he's like, I would never do that ever. I'm so honorable. You have no idea how I could. It's impossible for me. I would die if I tried. I loved that moment, especially the look on his face laying in the hammock when I twisted his head around.
And then he had to cover his mouth in because he was so enraged and also didn't want other people to see what he was saying. Yeah.
And David realizing that moment he had messed up, they was like, "Oh, I didn't mean it like personally. Like I think you just did it by accident. I don't think it was on purpose."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, that's funny."
Not in my DNA, buddy.
It's not possible.
Yeah.
You don't get these biceps with deceit and lying or going back on your word.
I wouldn't be blessed with biceps like this if I wasn't.
Does this look like a liar to you?
Ashleigh, what do you got?
I think it was when Shaheen saw Ava sneaking off in the middle of the night, and he was like in the darkness, and then he went, Joe, and he like put his hand on his face and stuff. It was very just a very awkward moment, and then nothing happened.
Then nothing
and
happened.
I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, and then immediately the next scene, Eva's like, "Hey, y'all, I found something."
Yeah. And then Shaheen's locked in. He's like, "Okay, I'm not."
He's like, "Oh, I'm best friends now."
Yeah.
Okay. But you can see there, like that's when you kind of knew that David was going home because they weren't even in the group. Like David was not there with them when that was being shared. And then they walk up, they change the subject. I was like, oh, that's the writing on the wall.
Yep. I think it's the David Joe, you went back on your word scene for me too. Because it was like we caught the moment where David just tanked his whole game and that relationship it was like, oh, he went way over the line. It feels like often that's a much blurrier thing. It happens over a bunch of different conversations and different things. And this was just like one thing happened. It was like, this is it. He's digging his grave. This is happening right now.
Yeah.
Who did the most to advance their game in this episode?
I mean, Kyle and Camilla, I think. They finally...
either more than the other?
I'm trying to think of who the jury's going to like more here at the end, and I kind of feel like they're pretty even right now. I think Camilla for sure benefited more from this because Kyle could have stayed with the integrity group and voted out Camilla and probably been fine for a while or found a way to the end. Mm-hmm. Camilla definitely needed this to survive and stay in the game and have a fighting chance at winning. So I would say Camilla.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Shaheen did a lot this episode, and it was a lot of it was even if it didn't go anywhere, it showed a good light on him. Even like the waking up and seeing, like nothing happened from that, which was sad because you wanted to see, like it's in the description of the episode, you want something to come of that, but nothing does. But he feels like he's in such a good spot because he then stepped with Kyle and Camilla, but eventually people are going to sniff that out too. And I think he's just going to be able to move a little more fluid than those two are as they swing back and forth.
Yeah, I like that. Ashleigh?
I think Camilla for sure. She just, the way she sweet talked the jury a little bit and was like, well, would you guys like, they didn't give you any power, any authority to get into the group. And I was like, that was the perfect thing for her to say to them because both Chrissy and Cedric were definitely left out of the strong person group. And you can see on their faces, they're like, yeah. And the only person on the jury who would be upset at Camilla is David. But even David is going to be so blurred by Joe and Eva voting against them. So I think she did a really good job doing that.
Yeah. I think if you're an underdog on the jury that wasn't given any footing and someone like that makes it to the end, you are voting for that person. Riley?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I have Camilla too. The difference being that Kyle, he could have worked some with the strong six, but Camilla like desperately needed to break up that group for her game to advance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who damaged their game the most?
Other than David.
Can't say David. Yeah, you can't say David. Obviously, his game is not looking good. Not looking good.
I think probably Joe here. I think Joe's move would have been to keep David and Mary. Mary as well, I guess, because her number one is gone. But I feel like Joe definitely could have found a very easy path to the end with a goat had he held on to David as long as he could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm going to say Joe and Eva collectively because they're basically playing the same game here. They should have stuck with the other pair, and I think they have way more motion to swing back and forth, especially with how much it seemed like David wanted to stick with that group. And David was just so unliked. I mean, they've got the villain to front run. Like, literally, they could have taken the meat shield that didn't want to be a meat shield and make him into a meat shield. Like they really could have. But we'll see how it plays out with those two.
Ashleigh?
I'm thinking who wrecked their game, basically. Mary didn't do a good job this game for me. I think that she was just a little too close to David. And like, I don't know. I think she kind of showed her cards and put, what's the saying? Too many eggs in your basket kind of thing.
Yeah, all her eggs in one basket.
Yeah,
David.
There we go. Yeah, and I was like, she could have kept on, Camilla did a really good job of staying on both sides, basically. An outsider plus has a connection into the strong boy 5-6. But Mary didn't. She was definitely obviously connected to David. And now that the connection's broken, does Mary run back to the outsiders? Does she try to continue the connection with the core 5? I don't know. So I don't know.
Yeah. Riley?
I think Joe and Eva, for the reasons that we've already said, they've got a lot of damage control, I think, to do now, especially when you're like, we're the loyal ones, and then you vote out the head guy of the loyalty.
That guy was like, that was actually really loyal to y'all.
Yeah. Tough.
That?
Yeah.
All right, winner picks.
I'm still going with Star. There is a pathway for Star, I believe. I think she's well liked. If she can get to the end with people who are not well liked, if she can get to the end with Joe and Eva, I feel like
she voted for Mitch this episode.
I know she did.
She was out of the vote.
She was out of the vote, which she should have been in the vote because she was trying to crowbar those cracks anyways.
Yeah,
which does show that she's not in the loop. It does make it more difficult for her, but I think if she can get to the end with people who aren't liked and also at some point swing the game. She understands what's going on. She understands what needs to be done. She doesn't have the power or hasn't shown or possessed the power to be the one cracking it open yet. And if she can figure out a way to crack it open, great. If not, she's going to have an uphill battle.
She found the crack. She just hopped on the wrong side whenever it split.
When it split, she didn't help push the crowbar. Yeah.
I think Shaheen is in a great spot to win, just because I think the pairs are going to get found out pretty soon, and because they have so much sway, like they're going to have to be making the shot calls on who goes home. It's going to hurt people's feelings as they leave, because this war of like going back and forth is about to start happening. I think it's going to rub people the wrong way, but Shaheen can really blame other people for it. That'll put him in a decent spot.
Yeah. Ashleigh?
Well, Mary is my winner pick. She has been my winner pick for the last couple of weeks. I worry about her. I don't know how she's going to recover from this. I know she will. She's great at changing
what do you want her to do?
Strategy. I want her to go with the outsiders and split up Eva and Joe somehow. That'd be really fun. But the smarter move would probably be to go to Eva and Joe, because Eva has so much power in the game and she has the extra vote. So that can be a really big dominant factor in the voting next couple episodes, honestly. So smart way, Eva and Joe. Fun way would be to be a bit more strategic and go with the outsiders and split that team up immediately.
Well, that's what it seemed like they were going to do on the next time on. Like they said 4v4, but who knows?
We'll see. They always be lying to us.
I know. They get you excited.
Wait, so who are the 4v4 that they were hinting at?
So it'd be
Camilla, Mary,
Kyle,
Star. No.
But no, I don't think Kyle's in. I think Kyle is on the opposite side from Camilla in the 4v4. I think they got it confused, right?
Yeah, this is going to be kind of confusing.
Oh, well, we'll see. My winner pick remains Kyle. Good episode for him. He's in a good spot. Yeah. Last category for us is who's going home next.
Who's going home next?
I'll say mine. I think it's going to be Mitch, because I think it's going to swing back. I think they're going to swing back, and I think Kyle and Camilla are smart enough to know we've got to keep weakening both sides. I think they swing back and they say we get rid of Mitch, and then whenever we swing back to the people on the bottom, we have a lock with 4, and we're set to roll. And I think they're smart enough to do that. Because if they take out one more on the bottom, then they have the majority in that half, because they're half of the 4.
Yeah, I actually have Mitch too. again, I felt like there was like a line this episode where it was like, oh, he's super well liked.
Yeah, he's the favorite.
And I'm like, really? We haven't seen a lot of that, but it felt like foreshadowing of like a person who's a priority to get out.
Like a reason to get him out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I actually am going to agree with you as well.
Why do you say actually?
Because usually I'm right and you're wrong, and it's weird when we are. You remember the Riley curse from last season?
Yeah. I'm doing good this season, though.
You're doing great this season. I think also that foreshadowing. I do remember them being like, we have to get Mitch sooner than later. He can win challenges, and he's too well liked. Ashleigh, who do you have?
I gotta agree. It's got to be like Mitch or even Star,
4 for 4.
Possibly. Yeah, because they have to kind of go in that way of elimination.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
That's all.
All right. That'll do it here at The Pod Has Spoken. Thank you, Hunter, for your time and energy. Super fun episode. Sound off in the comments if you need more or less from us, and we will probably ignore whatever you're saying there. Just kidding. We won't reread them all. Ashleigh, thank you for making us sound and look amazing. Riley, thank you for always showing up. And you finally have, I'm trusting you again. Much love, everyone. Till next week. See ya.